Good evening. I'm Greer McGearey, President of Seahorse Victoria, and with me tonight is Elisabeth Lane. Welcome, Elisabeth.
Thank you, Greer.
One of the areas that really I think I struggled with was that the impact that it had on my partner. Of course, it eventually caused us to separate because we just came to the conclusion it was just not going to work. But by the time I really did start to deal with it openly, so my kids are all grown up and adult, that left home sort of thing, or we left home and left them behind. But it didn't have a direct impact on their schooling or anything like that because it was so secret. It was totally unaware of it. But it was that my partner having to keep the secret, her being the keeper of my secret, was probably my biggest regret in that sense. But once I did sort of start to talk to somebody openly about it, it was much easier, I suppose, because I have a fairly logical sort of way of approaching things that I then stepped out. Well, I knew about Seahorse, and so when I was in a position to be comfortably back in Melbourne, then I made the approach and slowly progressed from there. With that sort of progression from, thinking about it and actually talking to somebody openly about it, when I first went along to Seahorse, which is in 2002, the changes to that legislation were already in place a couple of years, and it's really, I'm the beneficiary of the hard work that was put in through Seahorse members and Transgender Victoria to advocate for those changes, and many other individuals. And since that particular time, I've seen how much more accepting being out in open society is. I really have no adverse comments or derogatory remarks. They're so trivial. It's like water off a duck's back in some sense, but there's so few of them that it's really a beneficiary of that particular change in legislation, the way I see it. And your own experience, particularly in Queensland?
Well, with the legislation, reminds me of back in about 2007, the Queensland Seahorse had a soiree, and we had a fashion parade where the partners were the judges and we were the contestants. And for the fantasy one, I turned up literally with a short leather skirt, tight top, red underbust corset, and I was dressed as a mistress. Came second, which I thought was not too bad. And I ended up wearing that home, not thinking anything of it. And so I'm literally dressed to the nines. And on the way home, I got pulled over for RBT. But as I pulled out RBT, they moved a couple of the cones away, and he said, "Drive in here, please." And I'm like, okay, that's not normal. Drove in there, and the police officer said, "Are you where you have your registration's wrong?" I said, I just looked and thought, I paid that. And he said, "Can I have your driver's license?" Now, the police officer was totally respectful in that he used my legal name only, did not do anything derogatory. He went and checked, okay, yes, you have paid it. Then he said, "Have you shifted house?" I said, "Yes." He said, "Right, well, you're supposed to tell the Department of Transport. Now, you could be fined for not having the right one and fined for having the wrong one." And I thought, oh, great. And they said, and I was only about a few k's from home, said, "Right, get the car home, talk to the Department of Transport on Monday, sort it out. Don't drive the car till you do." And I thought, right, I can take the hint. I thought, great. He let me off. He didn't have to. And that's when, that was an eye-opener for me. I knew there's protection within the law, and he just addressed me as process, right, you need to get to the bottom of this, got to the bottom of this. Okay, you obviously made intention to do the right thing. I'm going to let you go. You go sort it out and don't come, so I don't want to see you again. That was one big thing for me that night. That was reassuring beyond belief, actually, to know that you would not be vilified for being yourself. That was, it's basically the mid-2000s. And that was the first time I had any real inkling with that regards to the basically, social acceptance, that sort of thing. Because I'd often go with the girls, but we'd go as a group, so hence you was safety in numbers. And this was one thing where I was like, wow, I mean, that was one thing I know I remember told everyone else, I said the cops were great. But I said we did have the law to protect us. And the cops they were just interested in basically thinking, well, I thought it broke it. I didn't break it. Oh, I did break it. It was a minor infringement. I was what he thought it was. And he said, well, go home and fix it up.
An area that has been really encouraging in the training of police, particularly in Victoria, that for many years now they've had these sessions where people from all diverse backgrounds and sexual identity and gender identity go along with and meet with the cadets and talk about, well, have you met a trans person before? Well, I'm one sort of thing, so that it is built into the training program for police. And there is, like your experience then and the experiences I've had at being stopped at breath tests and things, and have been treated with absolute respect, regardless of how I've been dressed, and no derogatory comments, no smart aleck comments. And it's been rather reassuring that laws have changed and is having a positive impact on how we're perceived in society. And in the end, it's about how you behave should be the defining factor.
Most people just mind their P's and Q's, go about their day-to-day business, wear the same, and I've had no real major issues whatsoever. I've effectively, I really can't, outside of that one issue, and that was a positive one, I can't really say I've had anything really that was troublesome or anything like that. Sometimes someone looks at me and might be in disgust, but that's dropped off a lot over the last few years. That would be the zeros. 10 years ago, I get that now, that people are like, yeah, whatever, don't care. It's like you're just another human being. And that has improved a great deal.